What it costs to build a house in the UK. So Dave decides to sell both his late parents' house and his own home to raise funds for a new one-off house. Will he have enough money for a grand design project? His parents' house raises £282,000 and his own home has £100,000 of equity, so he now has £382,000. The cost of sites for new houses vary massively across the UK. Where I live in Fife, it's about £100,000 for a site with planning permission, but it can cost multiples of that sum in other parts of the UK. Let's assume he can buy a site with full planning approval for £100,000. He still has £282,000 left over. What will that get him? I recently spoke to a professional colleague who works with small property developers near where I live. These guys are building a development of 15 houses, and it works out at around £1,700 per square metre for a basic standard of finish. Building 15 houses at a time is more efficient than building one. The builder will get materials at reduced cost because they can buy in bulk. They're probably saving at least 10% by doing this. You also need to keep in mind that a builder will want to make a profit margin of at least 15% if you hire them to build a house for you. So if you plan to build a one-off house in the UK, assuming its design is fairly conventional, and you employ a builder to carry out the work, then you should plan to pay at least £2,100 per square metre. Dave's £282,000 budget would translate to a 134 square metre house. That's a 4-bedroom home depending on the internal layout. Of course, Dave could increase his budget by getting a self-build mortgage. And with such a large cash deposit and the ability to buy the site up front, he is in a good position to do this. A few years back, I interviewed Patrick Cannon, a mortgage advisor, about the ins and outs of self-build mortgages. There's a lot more to this than you might expect, and the discussion exposed why it's so rare for people to build their own homes in the UK. At this point, you might be crunching the numbers and wondering if £2,100 per square metre makes it economical to build a house compared to just buying an existing home. I think it depends on where you are in the UK, because the places with lower land prices also tend to have lower house prices, but the cost of construction doesn't vary much across the country. So if the cost of building a house is more per square metre than the sale price of a home in the same area, it's usually not worth building. Even though you won't pay that on a new built house compared to altering an existing home, I don't think the upcoming wealth transfer will lead the UK into a self-build boom. It may increase the number of people who give it a go, but the costs are often too high to justify it, and that's before you start looking at the odds of getting planning permission. However, I do think there will be a surge of house extensions off the back of this. If you get an inheritance equal to the value of an average house, that will go a long way to funding an extension. My name is Neil, and if you need my advice about your project, no matter where it is in the UK, check out the reallifearchitecture.co.uk website. You can book a consultation with me and get specific advice about your property.